Hi everyone, and welcome back or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Amy and I have a somewhat unhealthy obsession with Formula 1. In today's video, it's time we talk about the Chinese Grand Prix. Yeah, I still haven't emotionally recovered. It's whatever. So this weekend was our return to the Chinese Grand Prix after not being there for 5 years, I think. 2019, I don't do math. Anyway, it was also our first sprint weekend of the season. Now, these two factors combined, chaos. And yes, it provided for us. Right from FP1. Because who would go and top the time charts but Sir Lancelot Stroll? Now, I have a lot to say about Stroll in this video. Most of it slightly slanderous because we all know what happened. Anyway, the other highlight of FP1, fire. And not on one of the cars, on like the grass next to the track. I don't know, something in the Chinese grass, man, it caught on fire. I still don't 100% know why they were saying it's because of the sparks that came off the car, but that is, I've never seen that happen, ever. Now, I was of course working most of this weekend, so I only really saw the race. Like, I watched the other sessions while I was working, but like, I work retail, so I was like serving people and watching it at the same time. So I kind of don't really know what was going on. That being said, I did watch sprint qualifying, again kind of live but also kind of serving people. Anyway, it looked chaotic from what I could tell. Apparently there was a fire again. I didn't realise there was another fire. And then of course the rain came. That is when the true chaos started. Okay, people, I don't know, we thought Lando Norris was on pole, then we thought Lewis Hamilton was on pole, then Lando's lap got reinstated and Lando was on pole because his lap originally got taken away. That was the pole lap, but then it was reinstated. And he somehow got pole by like 1.7 seconds or something stupid. So that was chaotic enough already, and we're not even in to the races yet, okay? Should we talk about the sprint? We'll talk about the sprint. Poor Lando Norris. Poor Lando Norris, another win gone. It's Sochi 2.0. Getting a few war flashbacks there, are we? Yeah, Lando Norris basically threw away that win. That was his to take, although I don't think he would have won, considering a certain Max Verstappen, who came through and won the race by 13 seconds. Keep in mind, this is like a 19 lap sprint race. It's not even the full distance, okay? It's a third of it, and he won by 13 seconds. In not the best conditions either. It wasn't like it was like all breezy. I mean, for him it was, but like Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton up there as well, which was of course exciting to see. But again, Max was winning by 13 seconds. Then we move on to official qualifying. Lewis Hamilton qualified 18th. Sorry, what? I don't know how that happened. Again, I was watching it whilst I was serving people, so I didn't have the audio going. How did he end up 18th? I don't know. And then, okay, everything's going fine. Okay, yeah, Lewis is 18th. Other than that, pretty chill. Daniel Ricciardo out-qualifies Yuki again. Daniel Ricciardo, again, was on fire this weekend until a certain Aston Martin decided to drive into him. Anyway, we're not up to that part yet. Still not over it. I was there, I was serving, oh my god, look at Danny Ko, red flag, the signs spinning in the background, right almost into the wall, dude. No, he was in the wall, and he still qualified in 7th. Man spins, crashes into the wall, gets his car going again, red flags the whole thing, 7th, refuses to elaborate. He got the car going by itself again, which is pretty impressive. So he had no outside assistance, so he was fully fine. The mechanics somehow repaired his car in time, and he got back out there. He got going. And there's a bit of a slay from Ferrari, so good job, Ferrari. And you'll never guess who your pole sitter was for this race. It was in fact Max Verstappen, but Fernando Alonso was also up there, starting on the first 2 rows of the grid. So we couldn't really complain too much. Like, yes, Max was going to win, but at least we'd have some sort of excitement going on in the midfield. And that we did. Okay, so now we can get to race day, after the chaos of the rest of the weekend. The race 2, in fact, delivered. Again, the start was not the most interesting. I did think it was being kind of dead, other than tyre strategy, of course. But did you see the way that both Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris were hanging onto those tyres for dear life? They were doing so well. Lando Norris was putting in really good times, despite his tyres being the oldest on the grid once most people had already pitted. other than Charles Leclerc. So I think the interesting thing, had we not gotten the safety cars later on in the race, would have been that tyre strategy. And I mean, obviously they both still did a one stop, but they did have that safety car period to help them out a bit, you know. Yeah, so that would have probably been the only interesting thing that happened, was where they would have actually filtered out doing that one stop versus the two stop against everyone else. Max Verstappen, he'd already done his pit stop and he was already like 3 seconds behind Lando, which is insane. Like, pit stops take like 24 seconds and he was only 3 seconds behind Lando after his pit stop. Like, wild. Anyway, but of course the race didn't stay calm. It was thanks to Valtteri Bottas and Stake F1 and the car shutting down that we got the first safety car. I thought it was kind of funny how I thought it was kind of funny how the marshals were like trying to like push his car off track. Like, they were really trying that. They tried their hardest, but we initially got a virtual safety car, which quite a few people stopped under, and then a full course safety car was called out, which obviously meant more people stopped. Danny Rick was not one of them, and at this point I was already screaming at the TV for him. Okay, he'd already known the short end of the stick kind of with strategy. He had just gone through, started overtaking everyone. He was really picking up pace. He was overtaking Yuki again after like getting a really bad like sort of strategy, and you know, he was slaying. Okay, you can't now tell me he wasn't slaying this weekend. I am a delusional Daniel Ricciardo fan, aren't I? And then on the safety car restart, everybody starts to break, going into like the final hairpin of 15 and 16 when we get this concertina effect, and everybody else, you know, knows to hit the brakes other than one. Lance Stroll goes straight into the back of Daniel Ricciardo, which means that Daniel taps Oscar slightly, meaning that both the Australians have damaged cars. And keep in mind, this is like one of the few races of the year that the Australians are actually going to watch at a normal fucking time. So yeah, we were pretty pissed about that. And then Lance kind of had the audacity to say it was Daniel's fault. He still thinks it's not his fault. He still stands by the fact that he did nothing wrong. Okay, whatever, it's fine. And then also on that restart, Kevin Magnussen. Okay, we know how aggressive this guy is, you know how good he is in defense. He makes some questionable moves sometimes, but I will give him the fact that he is aggressive. He makes it interesting, okay? This time, I didn't appreciate it. Actually, no, what I kind of did, because I thought Daniel was going to start plummeting backwards, and then Yuki got out, and I was like, you know what? He can't finish behind his teammate again. So, sue me, okay? Yeah, Magnussen went for a really dumb move on Yuki, trying to go up the inside. There wasn't room for that move, mate. This wasn't, and he ended up tapping Yuki on the back and just like spinning him around, resulting in Yuki being out of the race. And guess what? Bam! A second safety car. All of this sort of resulted in some chaos going on in terms of drivers accidentally overtaking each other under the safety car, meaning that Logan Sargent got a 10-second penalty. I don't quite know how he got that penalty, although I understand his more than Daniel's, but we'll get onto Daniel's penalty later. Yeah, so Logan Sargent was just coming along the straight. Nico Hulkenberg pitted under the safety car, as you're allowed to do. And then as they came out, Logan Sargent was ahead of Hulkenberg. And it was pretty much right on the line, like there was not a lot in it. That 10-second penalty, a little bit harsh in my opinion. But you know who should have gotten a harsher penalty? Lance. He only got 10 seconds for that as well. Magnussen also got a penalty again, but like Lance is the one I was pissed off at because again it ruined Ricciardo's race and it also ruined Piastri's race. Because of that, Piastri had significant damage to the back of his car, which is where a lot of the aero comes from. So, you know, yeah, I wasn't happy. I'm so sorry, that was just like a massive rant about me being pissed off at Stroll. I'm sorry. Professionalism. They come to the end of the race, we also had some interesting things unfold in terms of tyre strategies, with Fernando Alonso being on the soft tyre after the safety car, meaning he was the only driver really who had to pit again after Daniel Ricciardo had to, you know, retire his car, and everybody else was on the hard tyre besides him. So Fernando had an extra pit stop to make, and I think he did make that strategy, you know, work. Like, he pitted from the soft to the medium tyres with 12 laps to go and was able to overtake quite a few people and was able to get points out of that. I know it wasn't what we were expecting from him. Like, he could have realistically gotten like a podium, maybe, potentially. I think he was up there, or at least finishing better than he, did in the end. Speaking of podiums, you will never guess who won this race. Yes, Max Verstappen, but we got Lando Norris second place on the podium and Sergio Perez in third. It was a bit funny at the end of the race. Lando didn't park his car with Max and Checo. He accidentally went into the pit lane. So, clearly he just doesn't do this a lot. He's doing it a lot more than he used to. I'll give him that. And also, while we're talking about where they were parking their cars, Zhou got his own spot to park his car, even though he finished 14th. Like, stop. That was so sweet. And then he started crying. I'm like, stop, you're gonna make me cry. Not really, because I don't cry. Not over this, I don't cry. But, like, it was so sweet, and he got his own spot, and no, I haven't really seen that done before. And again, he was the first Chinese driver to compete in a Chinese Grand Prix, so it's a pretty special moment when you think about it. Anyway, in conclusion, Max slayed, Lando slayed, Zhou slayed, Lance didn't. Period. And now we're getting into the post-race. Watching the post-race, all I was thinking was, I want Sergio Perez's hat. Somebody tell me where I can get that hat. I want it just with the number 1 instead of number 11. Thank you. Also, we found out in the post-race interviews that Stroll still thinks that he is, in fact, not at fault for the incident between him and Daniel, even after seeing all the replays. And there's one interview that the French media did. I'll play it now.
He's saying my mistake? Okay, I had started to calm down, but now that pisses me off because I watched his onboard. He's not even looking at me. We start to brake and his head starts looking at the corner, and then he starts to accelerate or come off the brake, and then he's right underneath me, so that pisses me off.
You can see how pissed off Daniel is, and I quite frankly agree. However, Daniel Ricciardo has also gotten a 3-place grid penalty for Miami because he overtook Nico Hülkenberg under the safety car, which was thanks to Mr. Daddy's money, Lance Stroll, because when Lance, went into the side of him, obviously he lost a few seconds, so he maneuvered himself back past Nico Hülkenberg to his rightful spot on the grid before he got slammed into, and he got a 3-place grid penalty. And I'm sorry, that's not fair. That is not fair. And again, next time out, we are in fact in Miami, aka my least favorite Grand Prix on the entire calendar. I do not like it one bit. I don't mind Vegas, I quite like Texas, but Miami, absolutely not. Not happening, not my vibes. Over the top cringiness, I'm not into it. Not into it. Anyway, here are your current driver standings. Not a lot of movement, I don't think. Nothing too significant. Same with your constructors. Red Bull leads by an even more significant amount than before. And finally, my fantasy league. Once more, we shall not be discussing this further because I have not removed Daniel Ricciardo from my teams because I am still in fact delusional. I know this is more of a ranty style we can wrap up, but you girls got places to be, people to see, and clearly she's hyped off of caffeine at 5 p.m. Anyway, that brings this video to a wrap. Comment down below what you thought of the Chinese Grand Prix. Do you think Daniel's penalty was fair in the end? Hit the like button if you liked the video, and press the red button to subscribe for more F1 and motorsport related content. And I will see you all in the next one. Laters.